Thank you, Madam Chair. A central part of the American experience has been our journey toward a more perfect union. It is, of course, important to celebrate the great days and the great places as a part of that journey, but I think it is, in many ways, even more important to acknowledge the dark days and the dark places. December 29th, 1890 was most assuredly one of those dark days. As has been mentioned, on that day, the U.S. Army's 7th Cavalry, while attempting to disarm several hundred, mostly unarmed Lakota men, women, and children, massacred more than 350 of them. Now, the United States Army called this the Battle of Wounded Knee. Let us not use polite phrases to ignore the reality. This was no battle, this was a massacre. And 100 years after that dark day, the United States government issued a formal apology, as was entirely appropriate, and is a good first step, but in and of itself is, of course, insufficient. In physical places, land matters, and on the site of that massacre, there was a trading post held under private ownership, and it was not a testament, it was not a commemoration of this sacred site and of that dark day. And so in an incredible act of leadership in October of last year, the Oglala Sioux Tribe and the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe came together to secure this 40-acre parcel. And I think now it's altogether appropriate for the federal government to step up in partnership to try to make sure that this sacred site is protected in the right way and is given the tools, that the tribes are given the tools they need to make sure that it is protected in the right way. Success has many mothers and many fathers, and of course that is true for this bill as well. We're going to be honored here in a bit to be able to hear from President Frank Starrs come out, as well as Chairman Ryman LeBeau. They are descendants of those from Wounded Knee, and they're great tribal leaders. They and their councils have worked hard to make sure that this site is protected. Now, their predecessors had also had a hand in this, and so of course I want to thank Harold Frazier. I want to thank Kevin Killer for their incredible efforts. And finally, by way of closing, Madam Chair, we have a tendency to think about dark days like Wounded Knee as in the ancient past, and we focus so much on those who died, those who were killed, those who were murdered that day. But we also have with us today Cedric Brokennose, who is a descendant. He's representing the descendants, and I think is an important reminder to us that this history wasn't that long ago, and that one of the reasons that it is important for us to honor this site is that there are still real living connections to the terrible actions that were taken that day. I thank the subcommittee for taking up, and Mr. Brokennose, could you just raise your hand? Thank you very much for being here, because we won't have an opportunity to hear from him later. But Madam Chair, thank you for the subcommittee for this work, and I look forward to hopefully advancing this bill. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And the chair now recognizes Ms. Hoyle for a 5-minute statement.